streaming and recording. We are live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Discord. The URLs for YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Discord are in your local chat. This is the Midjourney Quick Start for V8. I will give folks a little bit of time to note that the event has started. I have the newest MacBook Pro. It was the last thing my father gifted to me before he passed. It's pretty cool. It's the nicest of the nice, but for some reason the mouse on it is messed up. So I'm hosting this from the PC, which is a much older machine and tends to spontaneously shut down because I think it has a power supply issue. But on the bright side, I can move the mouse around, which is, a prerequisite to being able to teach this class. I know. It is a Bluetooth mouse. Yeah. The trackpad works fine. No, the trackpad doesn't work fine. I'm lying to you. The trackpad is also slow. There's something interfering. Have you ever used an old computer and your mouse just occasionally just slows down because there's too much disk activity or something? Yeah, it's anyway, if you've had that experience, that's what's happening on the Mac, but it's a brand new Mac. Like the Mac was brand new. It was the Mac that was released in August. So it's not even a year old. So there's just something going on. And I've been deep in V8 and haven't been trying to take care of my technical issues. Of course. Yeah. Yeah, it's maxed out tracking speed. And I can make it work. If I leave the mouse control panel open, it works. But if I close the mouse control panel, it lags. Something's going on. We'll figure it out. It is not pertinent though. Our troubleshooting of my mouse is not a pertinent topic for today. We are going to talk about V8. I am just giving us another minute or so to see if anyone wants to show up. Time to spam Wendy. Remind him. Poor guy. He just gets so hyper focused. And I know that that's what it is because he told me not 10 minutes ago, "Ooh, I really look forward to your event." Right. Well, that's fair. That's fair. Well, hello out there in YouTube and Twitch land and Facebook land. Feel free to communicate using your chat. It should pop up on the screen here. Goes the theory. Oh, thanks, Johnny. Welcome, Snoopy and Kirtan, Arun, Medea, Nico. All right. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Midjourney's prompting for beginners, which is right now the Midjourney V8 Quick Start. This isn't so much a passive lecture unless I guess you're listening to me at a YouTube recording. If you're here with me now, I hope that it ends up being an interactive session. So Midjourney V8 Alpha, when left undirected, uh, tends to, at least in SV6, do as strictly what you ask it to do. So it's not necessarily that the picture will be bland or low quality, but if you don't specify a background, it might not have one, that sort of thing. Because it's SV6 is very into adherence, which many of us really, really like. Then they introduce SV7 for people who are frustrated by that conservative literalism, and who don't mind sacrificing prompt adherence to get a little bit more imagination. That's going to be SV7. That's right. I am coming simultaneously through the stream so that the YouTube folks can hear me, and through Discord so the Discord folks can hear me. So you, as Discord listeners, you can pick which one you want to hear me through. I believe SV makes a difference when not using any mood boards, SREFs, or profiles. But I also think it does make a difference, but it makes the biggest difference when you do. And I can demonstrate that when we dig into SV in just a few minutes. For those joining us on Discord, you can join the chat by clicking on the speech balloon icon next to the voice channel name. YouTube viewers, Twitch, you guys. Oh, great. Thanks, Buttered Toast. You guys, as Buttered Toast just showed us, you can use the whatever your local chat is there, and it'll pop up above my head there. Can I point above my head? Here, show up right there. Right. Whoa, my arm broke. Help. Okay. Sorry. Right. So this is Midjourney. My name is Clarinet. And I am Midjourney's educator. So let's note that my instruction is independent. Nothing I say is intended to be some sort of official statement from Midjourney, the company, right? I also tend to teach upward, which is basically the same thing as saying I'll go ahead and use new words or ideas. And I know that you'll usually catch the meaning from context. And I also trust that if you don't, you're going to jump in and ask like Collect just did. That is exactly the right behavior. And I don't think you're here, you're not the average user if you're here at all. I think you're here because you are Midjourney explorers. You take an active interest. You're willing to actually do something with your time to learn Midjourney, which is amazing. I mean, there's millions of active users, and there's 30 of us, right? So you'll note that I speak as if you're the smartest, most capable version of you. So interrupt me if I say something that you don't understand. Westrove, would you mind muting while I'm speaking? I just thanks. It says flashes and makes me think, oh, maybe someone's going to say something. Okay. So you can talk to me in real time on the chat. Are you saying you can or cannot hear on Twitch? Because that's the second person who says you can hear. Which is good. If you can't hear, I am confused. Hmm. We'll just turn that right off again then, if you guys can hear me okay. Okay. Yeah, the SV is stripped in the prompt area after genning. I noticed that too because I was going crazy trying to figure it out. But I didn't notice in the hashtag announcement that it was true that it only worked with. What I did notice is that it is set as the default. SV7 is set as the default. And I thought maybe that's why it's deleting itself. All right, so let's get started. Many things have changed to make V8 feel like a brand new experience, but I think, and I encourage all of you to disagree with me or show me where this is not true. I think that that the basic way of prompting diffusion, like Midjourney, it still works. In fact, it works, but more so. V8 feels like a brand new experience, but in its alpha stage in this first week or two of March, the foundational training is still essentially the same. I think there might be minor departures, but the training is the same. So that means where Midjourney has performed weakly in the past due to lack of knowledge, it will continue to perform weakly due to the same lack of knowledge. So if you are hoping that, oh, yay, it's V8, suddenly I can make a centaur without doing anything interesting because it'll suddenly know what a centaur is because it's the next version. Not so much. It knows the same things it used to know. The difference isn't in its knowledge. The difference is in its prompt adherence, at least when using SV6. So what I'm saying is where it will improve is in areas that it always knew but didn't have the efficiency to deliver. The increased efficiency means more time for adherence, which is how well it follows the characteristics laid out by the prompt. That's adherence. Coherence, meaning how well are figures formed in the picture. Like a tree doesn't suddenly become a cloud. It stays a tree and stays a cloud. And somebody's arm doesn't blend into a belt. Somebody doesn't have an extra leg. Okay, that's coherence. And then style, that's what we call the visual attributes or visual characteristics, such as the clarity of the lines, the believability of the textures, the colors, lighting, whether it looks like a watercolor or not, right? That's style. So all of this is kind of a game changer. At the time of the alpha release, which is, again, these first few weeks of March 2026, you might find that style is the weakest link. They've released, since I wrote that sentence, they released SV7 in an attempt to explore what the community likes better from style version. That's what SV stands for, style version. So we have a style version called 6, which is the original release version, which favors listening to the prompt, which means that those of you who are either able to or able to use tools that produce very rich prompts will be pleased with the adherence, and you'll be in excellent control of the appearance of your image. But if it's tough, if you prefer to rely on SREFs, you have a tough time using the prompt itself as your main tool, then SV7 might help you out. because it does a lot more imagination for you. And the imagining that it does, you can call it imagining or AI magic or whatever you want to do. It uses up cycles, if you will, so that the adherence goes down, but you get a lot more out of the prompt without you having to actually specify. So that's the main thrust. They're trying to figure out, what does the community really want? Does the community want that adherence, that specificity, which, I'm in the camp that has always argued, give us the adherence, because we can solve all the problems of style with better adherence, right? If it doesn't look enough like a watercolor and the prompt is in control, then I am in control. Whereas if the adherence is lower, then it doesn't matter how much I specify watercolor. It's in the hands of the tool to create that style, not myself. The same with character consistency, like what is the character wearing, or composition, and so on. So there's this tension, and it's in the community as well as in the implementation that Midjourney is offering us. So, as you explore the alpha, you can go to ideas and features, which is our feedback channel. I've put it in your Discord chat there. You can use the ideas and features to think out loud, share your thoughts about whether you want to, what kinds of issues you're having, and how you hope they would be resolved. So this slide addresses some of the initial feedback from the alpha community about the V8 alpha. I guess it's important to acknowledge that many users are finding this version or experiencing this version. It's not that they're trying to say this version is so chaotic and inconsistent. What they're saying is, I'm experiencing the chaos and inconsistency, which is probably has a dotted line to the learning curve, because things have subtly shifted. It's hard to productionize their work. To productionize meaning to produce consistent, usable work in almost like as an employee. Like if I need to produce something for my boss, I'm not going to get a lot of gold stars right now, because there's so much. I'm trying to learn so much. Because the feeling the more I listen to people talk, I think the feeling stems from the core pain point of that learning curve. We want to resume control over the canvas. We had control, many of us who are not new to Midjourney, but new to Midjourney V8, we acquired fluency in V7. And now we're encountering V8 and our fluency is compromised, and that's what's frustrating. If there's anyone here who is brand new to Midjourney V7, V8, you're just new, period, let me know in the chat so that I can help you with some of the more beginner's tricks, because otherwise I'm sticking to sort of the compare and contrast thing between the prior and current alpha. The community is, I think, reacting to this learning curve by shifting its entire prompting strategy. And I think that that's exactly what we should be doing. We're seeing a movement across. You guys remember, just yell at me if you disagree. Just say, well, that's not right. Or do what Mountain Biker Chick just said. Thanks. Very well said, Clarinet. I accept compliments too. So explicit prompting for precise canvas control. Explicit prompting is annoying to some people and a blessing to others. This is what I'm talking about in SV6. It might leave. Thanks, Clark. Well, yeah. Let me know when we get there. The explicit prompting is a blessing to some and a curse for others. If you with SV7, the theory is. Oh, thanks, Snoopy. The theory is that with SV7, you don't have to be so frickin' explicit, because Midjourney has been let off the leash and it'll fill in some blanks for you. In SV6, the theory is, now I'm not saying it works this way every time, but the theory is that in SV6, Midjourney will back off and let you be the artist. So that's what I mean by explicit prompting. Oh, you're very welcome, Mountain. Mountain says that was the best and most rational and science-based description of our transition to V8 that I've heard. Thank you for being the voice of reason. Not that I could ever be the voice of reason, since there is someone here named Reason, Mountain Biker Chick. And I don't know if you two have met. Semantic precision. So semantic precision is just a fancy way of saying the vibe words are perhaps challenging in V6. So if you say stuff like a dynamic lighting, you might not get as far as you would like, because what does dynamic look like? So explicit prompting and semantic precision it's advice that we've given people for ages. It's just good prompting guidelines, because this is a diffusion model, and diffusion wants to be prompted in a certain way for effectiveness because of how it functions, how it works, how it operates. So the difference isn't that this advice has changed. The difference is that in V7, you go, oh, look at that, it works. In V8, you're more likely to actually go, oh, well, look at the difference. It really helped. There's a rough preference that I spoke to before, just in the past 72 hours. I kind of did a casual survey of about 12 people. Tiny sample size. This is not science. But from those 12 veteran users, a rough preference was emerging for SV6 style for prompt adherence, while saving SV7 for imagination. That's just what survey says in my tiny sample. If you guys have been playing with 6 and 7, now is the time yes, this is the appropriate time to argue 6 versus 7. Oh, okay, go for it. Ladies and gentlemen, collect. Mm-hmm. Oh, right, to overcome its imagination. Yeah, I see that, the irony there. So how would you separate them? Because you were not you were in the 12, but you were not in the majority opinion. So that's why it ended up on the slide this way. But share how you would separate 7 and 6. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I agree. Um, uh, this is. Mm-hmm. Mhm. Right. So let's take a look at this is a profile test. Here's SV6. You can see, does everyone, please use your chat to tell me, do you agree that all 4 of these look like they are of a particular style? Yes? Put a Y if you think, yeah, these look like a particular style. They look like they agree in style. And all this is my global profile with stylized at 1,000. I also went ahead and did quality 4 to make sure that it had plenty of time. Okay, here's the here's the same thing in 7. I'm sorry, I just hit the mouse. Yeah, I was scrolled the wrong way. Here's 7. I would say that this one looks like the profile, what I expect from the profile. How many of you agree that this looks like they all come from the same global profile? I'm going to say no. So this is seed locked, right? I was smart. Yeah, this is seed locked. This is a fashion photo of a fabulously gay pride sloth holding a sign that says 7 because I needed to, but since it strips the SV. Yeah, it looks like the chaos is higher or something, right? Maybe that's all it is. We have heard David say that for a new user who doesn't, who's just encountering Midjourney for the first time, having this variety of amazing styles presented without any extra effort is very attractive. So to a veteran user like Wonderful World of Stuff, who is like, no, I set up this profile because I want it to look like this profile. Then maybe V6 S style version 6 SV6 is the way to go. Well, that's interesting. He said he set it in the announcement. It says it's set to 7. So let's find out. I've got some more tests. It is. You're not wrong. Damage Case says, wouldn't this have been far less complicated if we'd ironed out V8's default characteristics without immediately approaching it via SRFs and mood boards? Is the model at its core more adherent, or are there more nuances in how it interprets prompts differently from V7? So there is no, the Midjourney doesn't exist without default characteristics. So you're right that the default characteristics need definition. But at the same time, the vast majority of users prefer to use SRFs, mood boards, personalization, and so on. And the way the architecture works out, there are actually performance improvements if you use those things. I can give you a completely invented, because it's a black box, but a completely invented explanation of why the performance improves is different tasks are offloaded to different components architecturally, and so they can handle the load better. Because SV changes stylize. Stylize is the default style, and you cannot create an image without the default style in play unless you switch to raw. Yeah. Well, then it's the same, and I'm confused. You're not confused. I'm confused. Excellent. High five. So, well, in any case, I didn't even consider using all of the tests I'm about to show you between 6 and 7 do test with profiles and mood boards. This is a mood board. This is the SV6 and the SV7. You don't know what the mood board looks like until I open this up. Hold on. Let me show you what the mood board looks like. Yeah. This is just so you can have a decision between whether you like 6 or 7 for mood boards. This is a small mood board. This is what the pictures are. They're all very interesting plays of light in storm situations, stormy countrysides. So I intentionally did a stormy countryside prompt so that it would have every opportunity to employ the mood board. And 6 looks exponentially more like that mood board to my eye, which is subjective, than 7. 7 looks pretty random to me. But it's up to you. Your mood board might respond differently. This is a coloring mood board. All the pictures look like this. Give you an impression, bold lines, simplistic pictures. Right? So here is 6. I think. Oh no, that's not this is 6. A black and white coloring page depicting the floral text SV6. The other one had Chasing the Light on it still. So this is pure 6, and that's 7. So which one do you like better? This is higher prompt adherence, less imagination. Notice what happens. I said the floral text SV6, the floral text SV7. In this one, it did a lot more. It played with my idea. It iterated. Thank you, Collect. It iterated. It filled in the blanks. It added a background, and it didn't really listen to what I wanted. I said floral text, not the outline of text on flowers, right? So for me, SV6 wins for this mood board for my personal taste. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So last test, the mood board is here. It's just pictures of the Midjourney education logo background thing. And I just did an artwork with the SV6 text above column C, and then this is SV7. Interestingly, 7 couldn't really handle the text bit. I did think 7's colors were more like the mood board. But SV6, the composition is really nice and the texture. Yeah. And then I tested some adherence, but to a Collect's point, I didn't choose to use a mood board because I was myself not thinking about that at the time, and so these are not good coherence tests. Right, and then that's another example we'll hit in just a minute. So, I agree that this slide could be rewritten. I cannot tell what that person said. Can anyone read that? Is that just a heart? I think it's just a heart. Okay. So yeah, we can all form some opinions about 6 versus 7. And so we should. Part of what we're trying to do, again, you'll want to go to ideas and features and share your thoughts about 6 versus 7. Your thoughts are far more important than mine. So make sure if as someone who's here in this class, you're obviously someone who's a little more invested in Midjourney than the average Joe. So I hope you will share your opinion. All right. Yeah, the one of the things we're seeing from the community also, most veterans already have an iterative prompting style, but it's even more important now to build fluency in the alpha. I did speak to one user who joked that all the fluency we build in these first few weeks is going to be thrown out when they release 8.1 because they'll have changed a lot of things. And I think that's true. And those of you who have been around for a while might remember that what ends up being the version is often remarkably different than what was first released. Because there's a lot of, because that feedback comes through, there's a little bit more time. There's some ideas are become a little bit more mature, sophisticated, and it's great. So that last bullet is just about an acceptance that the V8 Alpha is right now just an exploratory tool, not a stable one. And this course, you know, it's sort of designed to address the learning curve, to kind of help us close that learning curve a little bit faster than we might on our own. Most of you are perfectly capable of messing around until you figure it out. But if you're here, I figure you want to know a couple, 2, 3 things. Collect says, I'm happy to see the community accepting finally after 2 years that prompting needs to change because the most optimal prompting style has stayed roughly consistent since V6. Yes. Damage Case says, what's a highly descriptive, well-written prompt describing an image that would showcase a good model? Maybe we could compare that between 7 and 8 without mood boards and SREFs and just observe how V8 prefers to present contrast, sense of atmosphere, how creative it is interpreting written direction. If you add on mood boards and this number and that, people tend to see what they want and affirm their own beliefs. I like that Damage Case, and I will show you an example in like 3 minutes. We'll get there. You had a good idea, and it was the same idea I had. Can you hang on a couple minutes? Okay, very nice. Right. Things that are missing from the alpha launch. Well, this already outdated. I say that relax mode. There's fast only. That's been addressed already. OREF is not launched. Image prompts are not launched. The no parameter is not launched. Weights and multi-prompts are not coming, except for the no parameter, which is technically a weight, but yeah. Draft mode is not coming because the way they've pulled together V7, the out-of-the-box speed is very draft-like to begin with. And upscales are not coming because you can prompt directly into a high-resolution mode. Note that pan right now, at time of speaking, pan, zoom, retexture editors, still version 6.1, not natively 8. So any questions about this? What's missing? It might be in the editor window, or they might have removed it. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't call out pan zoom as separate functions on this slide as a note to self. Kind of a veteran way of putting things. Thank you, Collect, for this slide. Made in V8. with a prompt that was able to say, cross out mitochondria, which I thought was amazing adherence. I didn't keep the prompt. I should have, because the prompt is amazing. If you happen to have it collect, I wouldn't mind putting it on the slide. The prompt is the powerhouse of the image, right? This is a reference to a meme. If you have no idea why I've got mitochondria on the slide, don't worry about it. It's just a silly meme. At the time of writing, I said you might need to use raw and play with values of stylize in order to get the adherence you want. Thank you. Look at how he wrote this. A blackboard with text written on it in chalk. And crossed out strike through mitochondria with prompt above it is the powerhouse of the continuing with strike through cell, and next to it continuing image. That's not a human readable sentence, but it worked great. At least 1 out of 4. I'm calling you speaking to a machine. You're speaking to a diffusion machine for sure. So all this to say, as far as we can tell with V8, at least the alpha, at least in SV, at least when you do not have mood boards and such, the adherence is way up, and the prompt is a magic bullet. Let's see. Allie the Squid says, this example was very cool as well, and I think it was prompted similarly. I don't have the prompt, though. That's okay. You can get a lot of text. You just got to be very careful. Write your sentences in multiple groups. Then the text magic will be realized. That's awesome. I do have a slide here on text. You two can tell me what else we might want to add to it. Right. So Midjourney V8's biggest difference, as I was saying, is the prompt adherence. SV6, as we said, can be perhaps overly literal and precise. But what this means is you are the artist. And if a result is not what you intended, just analyze your prompt. And I've got some methods that you can use for that prompt analysis in case you're not feeling like you can just cough up the right prompt. You really want, there's a lot of people who are feeling like almost illiterate. Just that overstates it a little bit, but a little challenged to write prompts at the level of specificity that really makes V8 alpha shine. And we have a couple of methods you can use to dodge that. Is there anyone in this class that's like, just the idea of prompting that detailed makes you tired? Like you're just like, I don't think. Mountain biker chick loves being able to prompt in that detailed way. Anyone else? I'm glad. Yeah. We were spoiled with easy mode for 2 years. Had to turn my brain back on, says Derpiter. Yeah, for sure. I mean, here's the thing. I'm a little bit like I just type in my prompt and then I don't get what I want. I'm like, ugh. But I'm so happy that finally I can go like, okay, I guess I have to put it in the prompt, and then it works. It's just like, what? I can just say it and it works. What? Allie says it requires more brain power. So long as I'm awake enough, I appreciate the ability to get really detailed. Right. Yeah. Well, what's one of my two solutions. Actually, it's 2 of my 2 solutions, 2 different LLMs. First, there is the V8 Midjourney-trained Clarinet's prompt helper. That should be able to help specifically with V8 prompts because it the prompting guidelines for V8, like the differences are loaded into it. And more is coming as we make discoveries. So I wouldn't use an untrained GPT. So if you're just like, I'm just using Gemini, stop. You're going to give yourself such a headache. Definitely use a trained, probably doesn't have to be my trained prompt helper, but make sure you use one where the author of the helper has said, yes, I have loaded it up with the Midjourney specific guidelines. Yeah, or set your own guidelines if you happen to know. If you don't want to, you know. Okay. Let's see. Derpeter says, make an extremely high quality image. Crisp focus, soft natural lighting, high contrast, raw, great for photos of everything except for most of those. If we gave that to, Derpeter just reached through the screen and pinched my lips shut and said, let people enjoy things. You tested? No, you didn't. Of course you did. Of course you did. All right. All right, I'm testing also. Hold on. All right. Now I'm going to say, a photograph of, sorry. All right, let's me be wrong. There are differences. I mean, there's differences because there's just a different number of tokens. You did test positive for charisma. It's noise, but it looks better with it than without. Fair. I will co-sign that statement. Yeah, I did this great test here. I'll give this to you while we're sitting on this slide. Check this out. Speaking of noise, Derpeter. I don't know if you can blow that up, but one of the things that Midjourney V8 does not have, as usual, is natural language support, meaning it doesn't understand no or without or doesn't have or is more important than, right? So in this example, we have a cartoon depicting two dogs isolated in a dark background. The red dog is more important than the green dog. So this test made people think, oh, look, the red dog is larger, so more important was understood. That's natural language. And look, if I say the green dog is more important than the red dog, oh my gosh, the green dog is larger. That must really understand what more important means. But then if I say the green dog is more, I just hit my keyboard. Same picture. And if I say the red dog is blah, 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 same picture. If I say the red dog is blah, 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 same picture, right? Exactly. So what's happening is that it is the sequence, the prompt length and the sequence of the tokens has more to do with it than. So it suggests that if I replaced all of this with just blah, 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 blah noise of about the same length, photograph, right? Because this is diffusion. This is not, it's the case with everything in diffusion damage case. All of Midjourney from version 1. It's just that the level of adherence makes people think that maybe it understands. Now we do have a version of Midjourney that does understand. It's called conversational mode. And if I tell conversational mode, if I tell conversational mode a green dog is more important than a red dog. Look at the prompt it created. A vibrant green dog as the primary focus, right? It interprets it for me. That's what that looks like. And so the green dog appears more important. So it is like Gemini or Nano Banana, ChatGPT, Grok, right? If I speak to conversational mode with ideas like that, it will transform it into language that the diffusion model is more likely to understand. My V8 is hanging. All right. V8 broke. So here's something interesting about a V8 compared to 7. We did not have an error message when we ran out of character, when we hit a character limit in 7. They just quietly, behind the scenes, stopped listening. It didn't tell us, which was great in some ways because it resolved the frustration. It just accepted strings of any length and then, cut it off, and you figured it out by seeing that your prompt wasn't working. 8 currently has a 1300 character limit error message. So let's see. And it also has, whichever you hit first, 1300 characters or 256 tokens. It's a black box, the tokenizer. How does it divide our English words into tokens? We're not 100, but we're not told precisely how they're doing tokenizing, but we can guesstimate. It's probably something like novelai.net's tokenizer. The URL is on the slide there. Probably something like that. Thank you, Wendy. As an example for people to grasp the scale of this limit, this prompt is only around 195 to 200 tokens. Yeah. So, and this is the example I was going to show. Damage case. You said, can we look at an example of something without any of the style tools in play? That's interesting, Derpiter. Poetry tokens. You mean like behold? What are poetry tokens? Oh, okay. So this is well over 50 details. Damage case. Oh, thank you, Snoopy. And this is V8 SV6 showing complete adherence. Even when I started to go a little bit beyond the token limit or started approaching the token limit there. When I hit the token limit, because I was below the character limit, but I was above the token limit. And when that happens, it starts acting V7-ish, right? Where, well, does the robot show up? No, all tokens are not created equal. If you mean their influence on the canvas. Each token is correlated to information in that training data. Some tokens have very weak correlation. And there's not a whole lot of pixel placement rules correspondent to that token. And so they don't do much except take up processing time. They don't affect the canvas over much other than sort of eating up a little bit of time as Midjourney strives to discover what its influence should be. Other tokens are extremely well correlated and can be dominant. So for me, saying a mermaid with silver hair sits on a shoreline rock, the tokens with the least influence are probably A, with, sits, or no, A, with, on, A, right? But they don't have a correlation to any very, very strong single dominant archetypal patterns, because the word the is used in all kinds of manners. We do have a command here on Discord, a Discord only command that will help you interpret whether your tokens are all created equal. It's called /shorten. What /shorten does is create a little graph of the influence of the token. If you've never tried it before, I don't know, it might be, they might have, did they? I know, but I don't know whether they, no, they have not updated it. There you go. That's cool. They didn't deprecate it though. That's what I was afraid of. No, I'm not interested in shorten for its how it's sold to us. Shorten is sold to us as a way to reduce your prompt to only the key tokens. I'm not, please don't use it that way. It has nothing to do with V8. The only thing so the /shorten command does, which is entertaining, although it has no practical value really, is to answer Hebo's question, are all tokens created equal? It will create a snapshot in a little bar graph of what tokens are in a bar graph made of ASCII or ANSI, actually, of what tokens seem to have strong correlations in the outdated data from its era, which is, I think, 6.1. So if somebody like Hebo is super curious, they can play with /shorten for that purpose only. 5.1. I don't even remember. It's old. It's old. Okay. I am trying to get my browser up again so that, wow, yeah, look at that. This is to Derpiter's point that the noise made the picture prettier. So yeah, maybe your noise can be a high quality image of A, or it can just be what I did, which was type with my elbows and just go, but it made the image richer. Hilarious. Okay. Oh, diffusion. Oh, diffusion. Oh, you. Okay. So for a damage case, what does this look like in V7? No profiles, no anything. We'll just grab this here and we'll compare the two. It's very empty in V7, I'm afraid. V7 doesn't know what to do. It's very pretty in V7, though. Okay. You can see this. This is extremely demanding prompt. And V7 spends most of its time making it pretty. V8 doesn't bother with so much of the pretty, but it makes it very, very adherent. They are not tokens. They are attached to, they are sometimes, I don't know, it's a black box, but they're sometimes tokenized with what they're traveling with. So marks would be a token with the comma. I do have a slide about that. Oops. The other thing besides the Clarinet prompt helper that might help, this is from Rhapsody and probably Victor Gnarly. Yes, it is. Conversational mode strategy. There's this idea that you can use without having to go use ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, or even the Clarinet's prompt helper, rather than using it to help you create the prompting that you want. You can have a conversation with conversational mode. Start with a simple prompt and let the LLM layer in conversational mode build the complexity for you. You can actually type into the conversational mode box, describe everything in this prompt in more detail. And chances are it will give you a longer prompt with better adherence and visual depth, as you saw. Absolutely, Reason. Hold on. Go for it. They improved the conversational mode output by more of the guidelines that we discuss that I normally teach, got taught to conversational mode. So in theory, its output should be a little bit better. It's a big win. It's a big win. It's still, if they gave it to me, I would make it a little more strict, but as it is, the fact that it was finally launched at all is great. It is possible that the bot on docs.midjourney.com may also come to know some of those guidelines. But because I pay for CPH, but Midjourney pays for that bot, and I don't think they want. I think they want people to keep using third-party stuff like the CPH, because otherwise, if everyone hits docs.midjourney.com and tries to get prompting help, it might get out of hand. So I don't know if Danner were here, he could tell us whether that is something we might expect. Right, exactly, collect. But it's great that conversational mode helps. That's much better, because that, I think, is just a gem. A little conversational mode. I will now. Oh, yeah. I think because it produced crap. It produced low adherence prompts originally, although it could do many other cool tricks, and we have a really complex FAQ that goes into it. All kinds of, by Snoopy, all kinds of cool things, but some of which come from you, Reason, actually, that you can do. It is just, it's not the most popular FAQ by click. I think people are just a little bit disappointed with its previous performance, but I'm going to start talking it up now, because in my tests, it's starting to it's not full of, mommy on the phone core, HD, high resolution nonsense. So that's good. So yeah, definitely deserves its own slide. Reason is one of our local experts on conversational mode. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, prompt slop, exactly. Parameter experiments will help you with learning V8. This is from Wonderful World of Stuff. If only he were here to explain that trying to find, it's almost like per prompt, exploring stylized balance. Did I say loco? I thought, I don't know. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna unmute him again, just in case. Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, definitely will change this. La cabeza. Right. So this is a wonderful world of stuff is saying, play with an array of your stylized values, because that's the linchpin for imagination versus adherence. That's the juxtaposition, the trade-off knob. So you can play with that and see. And I wish I could give you a single rule, but I can. All I can do is tell you that high stylize is more imaginative and low stylize is more adherent. Why is that true? Because it's telling Midjourney, Midjourney has a fixed amount of time per job, per session to give to your prompt. And you're telling it, I want you to spend more of your time doing this and less of your time doing that, right? So, um, no, it really, it doesn't, but we'll get there. I mean, V8 is really assuming people are going to use the style tools. Damage case. It really does. You weren't wrong about that. It really is assuming that people will. Prompting strategy. This is from Westendorf. Maybe I shouldn't be outing people every time I show a slide that I was inspired. Okay, everyone, blame Westendorf for this slide. Tiny wording changes. Is this just you were talking about and Rhapsody and a couple of other people? I told you I talked to 12 veterans to help pull together this, and there's a lot of stuff that that we took out of our early version prompts. We took out lighting. We took out shot information. We took out those things. I personally still don't find them all that useful because Midjourney's training still doesn't include them. So even if you said a wide angle shot of whatever, it doesn't know what wide angle means. It knows what aerial means, so that'll work great. An aerial view or drone perspective works great, but certain other camera control words won't. And lighting as well. You might say there's all kinds of cool lighting words, but idiomatic, archetypal lighting words are far more effective than technical lighting words. So crepuscular is really great. It's or whatever, God rays or something. But I'm just blanking because I'm live in front of an audience, so I cannot remember the name of the words for refractive light on water. There's a special word for that. Spectral? It's not spectral. It does. Well, anyway, terms like that may or may not play because that has more to do with the training, not to do with the adherence. But if there is any, if there is training for that word, caustic, that's it. Oh, echo. Boom. Caustic lighting. Some of these terms, the very technical terms, may not play. Yeah, exactly. This sort of thing. Cat cool lighting, cat warm lighting. Well, it's pretty cool lighting in both cases. But yeah, this is a great example of iconic descriptions of lighting. I said idiomatic earlier. I just heard myself say it wrong. It's iconic. If it's iconic, it's probably going to work. Cool and warm. Yeah, depth adds depth. Although it's really hard to it's harder to flatten images than it is to create depth in images, because depth is, 90% of good photography has some element of depth to it. So it becomes archetypal to photography to have depth. Thanks, Himbo. Yeah, and it didn't mistake it for cool lighting as in awesome lighting. So Westendorf's example was anachronistic terms actually can hurt prompts that are trying to look part of a time period. He, instead of saying ground, he said concrete. And his old school artist's style was compromised by that. Because concrete blended in or dragged the point around in the latent space away from the old school artist that he was, I can't remember who it was that he was playing with. Say again? Bouguereau. So that's interesting. It's a new level. Where's Johnny? It's a new level of proofreading, Johnny. When we're helping users, it matters if one word pulls or pushes the prompt in the wrong direction. Yeah, please. Oh, fisheye lens. What the fuck? Why would I think fisheye lens? Why would my brain decide what you said? Oh, God. Yeah, it's a fisheye lens. Yes. I was like, we made it round. A round island? What? Ay. Anyway, right. So, because it's that adherence, it's even small semantic shifts can dramatically change results, which means that, and Wendy, Wonderful World of Stuff is excellent. He's really good at looking at prompts and going, it's that one. It's that one. That token is making trouble. So yeah. Oh, Derpeter's saying this is how he got to that benign noise of make an image of crisp focus, soft, natural shadows, because some words can just poison things because every word is so effective. All of a sudden, you're aware, like never before, that the word vector in vector graphic is going to crunch up your prompt, crunch up your image. You thought vector was fine, but all of a sudden now it means all kinds of science things too. It doesn't just mean clip art, So we're going to be finding anthropomorphic. Fascinating. So this is a prompting strategy. Maybe 8.1 will stabilize this a little bit, but certainly in the alpha, troubleshoot your prompts with a fresh eye to individual word choice. Ha, collect. Very funny. It's true. Image quality and detail. Right. This is where HD comes in. HD, the secret of HD is that it's starting your image with a higher resolution seed. So it's natively a higher resolution output. It's a truly new capability. It changes Midjourney's rendering habits from the ground up, because it has, remember how diffusion works is kind of reorganizing the pixels of the seed, if you will, roughly. And so having that higher density, higher resolution starting point is makes a huge difference. And we've seen, right, collect. collects as more noise patches to work with. So we've seen this. If you look at a picture of a seed from V3 and a picture of a seed from V8, you'll see this huge difference. The picture from V3 looks like 1970s vintage television static. The V8 seed looks like gray mist. Is this that fish with human teeth? Makes me so nervous, that fish. Be careful. I am incredibly happy with HD and Q4 because I don't have to sweat cost. And so, you know, if you guys have a test you need to run in 16 times more expensive land, please ask me or another of our volunteers, PromptCraft volunteers, greens or reds, to help out, because we want to help you test. We do not want you for a test to, and I'm saying this to you guys in particular, the folks who come to the classes, the community regulars, the folks who are involved and invested. This is something we can offer you guys. So please reach out if you need any tests of that kind. Relax mode is real now. But that 16 times more expensive is no joke. It adds up. Right. This is positioning and camera control tokens maintain reliability similar to prior versions. Again, that's training based. Hembo, nothing in the editor or pan or zoom or retexture is native to 8. It's all 6.1. Yeah. Oh, hey, Danner is here. Danner's probably been sitting there the whole time. Do we have any questions so far? It's possible Danner's a bot. You guys remember seeds are less reliable. The drift that occurred because of the GPU is still present in 8, and also the seed is less deterministic because of the optimized generation speed. Oh, Danner, hi. We were just teasing you. I had earlier. It's possible. Danner, earlier I was saying, I was asking about the docs.midjourney.com bot. And I said, if only Danner were here. And then all of a sudden I noticed your name in the list. So I blurted out, oh my God, he's actually here. Welcome to Midjourney's V8 Alpha Quick Start. We are more than halfway through with the class. The point of this slide was just to point out how many focal points you can get, which I already demonstrated with the beach scene. That seeds are no longer exactly, most people won't care about the deterministic changes in seed. It's not huge. If you happen to hit the same seed again, it's 99% the same. It's okay. Yeah. Camera control, let's see, multiple subjects. We have a pretty clear prompting guideline for how to get multiple subjects to appear separately and not blend. You don't have to be as careful in V8 alpha as you did in V7 to keep your subjects distinct. Nevertheless, in my tests, the principles that we taught in 7 continue to create more efficient, effective prompts in 8 as well. So instead of saying the first dog is green, the second dog is blue, it helps to say there are 2 dogs standing in the forest. The dog on the left is green, the dog on the right is blue. That setting the scene in the first sentence and then making sure you use positional references for your subjects rather than first, second, third, like foreground, background, left, right, up, down. These are all helpful. Flashbacks to V6, where we first started to develop some of these. I know, people are listening now. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. More examples of positioning words, positioning within frame. I did just a ton of tests with, different prepositional phrases. Whoops. A red ball on the left and a blue ball on the right. That is a less the way to fix prompts like this. This is one way to prompt it. I just put it in your Discord chat. A red ball on the left and a blue cube on the right. But an improvement to this prompt, if I'm having trouble, is 2 shapes or 2 shapes sit on an empty table. And then what? I just closed the chat instead of hitting return. Like that sort of thing. Do you see how I'm introducing it? That actually would improve adherence. It would also put them on a table. You don't have to, though. That's the cool thing about the V8 alpha anyway, is I've done plenty of prompting without taking the care to do that, which like in V7, I was like, guys, you've got to do it. Otherwise you have no chance, but you have a fighting chance. It'll work even if you don't do the setup statement. These are examples of words that I have tested for you and they work. It does not mean that these are the only words that work, just an example. It's just so pleasurable to have that level of control. Text rendering. Okay. Oh boy, here we go. So, no, I'm happy to acknowledge your discoveries. What the what the devs have suggested is that we use double quotes around the words to be printed. They suggest that because they have intentionally coded Midjourney to watch for double quotes. If you happen to leave out the double quotes, Midjourney will use other cues, including almost any separator punctuation for the purposes of text, provided that there's enough cues in the prompt that it knows to expect that. For most users, for 99.9% of their use cases, that's just extra nerd knowledge. Basically, just put double quotes around the words to be printed. But that is not sufficient. Just shoving double quotes around something doesn't automatically make it print out text. It helps to have what we term unlock words. Text adjacent terms. So there's something in the prompt has to trigger. And in fact, I would say the something in the prompt, the unlock terms are probably more relevant than the double quotes, even though the double quotes are relevant, technically speaking, from the developer's perspective. From a user's perspective, destination or context words and unlock words might feel more relevant. That's saying stuff like it's text, a font, there's typography, writing, it was written, it wrote, typed, printed, painted, graffiti, stitched, right? On a piece of paper, on an envelope, postcard, sign, billboard. These things cue up text rendering. Typography stylization. We've heard a lot of people saying, well, can't I just say Helvetica bold and get a Helvetica font? No. Unfortunately, because this is diffusion, the word Helvetica or Times New Roman or whatever is not necessarily correlated only to the look of a font. It might have all kinds of other correlations and not help you with your font. So again, just like with everything else, more iconic terms often help. Visually iconic terms like a Western font, you know, a billboard font, a magazine font. Just like with exactly. So, you know, try handwriting, permanent marker, post-it note, Western style, business, cyberpunk, logo, right? There you go. Himbo says, can Midjourney ignore the actual content of the text, the stuff in quotes? Is there content bleed? There is content bleed. It's not, that's part of what the double quotes are doing for you. On the back end, it's trying not to allow the content bleed. It's trying to treat it differently. For all I know, what they're doing is putting a dash no on those words so that it's only interpreted as text. I have no idea. I mean, this is wild speculation. I have no idea. But they're trying to control the content bleed. That said, I definitely get, in my tests, I've seen content bleed. If I put the word speech bubble in text, in double quotes, I'll get the word speech bubble in a speech bubble. Derpader is asking, you can OREF a font in a little bit, but only typographically. Like if you give it an OREF of give version 7 obviously an OREF of a Times New Roman capital A, and you ask it for a Times New Roman capital A, it will look like your OREF. But if you give it a Times New Roman capital A and ask for a Times New Roman capital Z, it may not. It might just, God knows what it will pick up. It's not as reliable as we would like. So there's really no way. I meant feed the while output sheet to it. Oh, no. What? Try it in. Yes, you can influence it. Okay, fair. This happens sometimes where I'm saying no because I'm thinking about people. I say the same thing about hex codes. People who want a particular font or a particular color using a hex code need specifically that font, like that's their business's font. So if you're Pepsi Cola and I don't know the name of Pepsi's font, but that's the font you need to appear, you can get something that roughly looks like that font through by giving it a style sheet or many other means actually. But you won't get that font for actual real. Right? So that's why I say no, right? Because if you're that guy who really needs that font, like really, like you're going to get fired if it's not in that font, then Midjourney is not. Yes, you can make it say Pepsi though, because it's an iconic logo. Maybe that was a terrible example because it's so iconic, but yeah. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Yeah, you can definitely influence colors and fonts, but you won't get the color or the font. So if you're someone who's actually trying to like do CYMK production, or you've got you're banking on that font or that color, Midjourney is not the way to go about that. Oh, really, Wendy? That's great. It's purely what? Mm-mm. Oh, is it? I don't think it's coincidental. Oh, it's a coincidence. Is that what your testing told you after more hex code testing? Oh, sorry. But it can. It can get you in the ballpark, right, because of the influence. I see what your joke is now. I got you. Yeah. But just to be clear, it's separate from the joking, these things are influential. Many hex codes can influence the type of color output you get. But if you are someone who will get fired if you don't actually make it the right color, don't. Yeah, hex is unreliable. It might get you a ballpark because, Midjourney might have seen that hex code, 500,000 times associated with various things, and it'll think, well, it's kind of maybe it's a correspondent to greenishness, you know. So, uh, oh yeah, I totally remember this actually. Well, let's try it. I'm going to copy this image and I'm going to put it here as a style reference. Am I in alpha? Yes. Okay. Am I in V8? Yes. Standard, raw. Okay. Um, let's see. A wooden sign says collect. Nah. One of them. One of them. The proper version of SRF? Oh, sorry. Uh, I mean, it's not unaffected. Yeah, it's not unaffected, but I mean, it's obviously it's seeing seeing the colors, it's seeing the little swirly bits. Okay, that's a nice idea. Hold on. No. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it has something to do with it, but it's not. I think it does influence font. Do you want me to put the hard braces on it there, interpreter? Okay. Now I'm going to say just this is my text Walmart, because Walmart is such an iconic term. Ha ha ha. Okay. Sorry. This is my text. Uh Double quotes alone do not work. This is better. This text. I'm just seeing which, and no, I'm not seed locking this stuff. Aha, that's funny. Okay, it likes font. What if I just said Walmart font? Woo! No, it wants all of it wants the unlock, it wants all the things on the slide. It wanted the unlock word plus the destination plus the typography stylization plus the double quotes. Well, that was an excellent example. Text is so much fun in VA. I could just play with text all day. At the time of writing this slide, I was suggesting raw, and I don't know if you can see that. I'm kind of in the way. No, oh, my owl is self-correcting if I roll back it. Well, anyway, dash raw and dash p are helpful during the alpha. Who knows? That might change any day now. Aesthetics, I don't have much on this slide because we're still playing with style versions 6 and 7, as we've been discussing throughout the class. Speed and efficiency, it's very good. No complaints so far. Bye, TR. Right. In case people asked why seeds are not 100% identical, summary of what's new in V8. Prompt adherence, image quality and detail, composition control, text rendering, aesthetic sensitivity, TBD, speed and efficiency, coherency, TBD. Okay, wow. Well, that was the majority of the class. Do we have any other questions about the major differences between 7 and 8? If you have no questions, please type NQ or no questions. That will help me tell the difference between folks who are listening but don't have any questions, or just, they're alt tab somewhere multitasking, which is fine. If you just heard me talk about that, it's okay. Please do multitask. You're okay. All right. NQ. Very good. I will, this is being recorded and the slides will be posted to our community PromptCraft site. I will give you the URL. Right here. Look for the downloads button here. And slowly but surely, all kinds of things are appearing on this downloads thing as we find time. Yes, this info is provisional. It's not that it will change. Not the basic fundamentals of prompting, but some of the sort of diagnostic tips and tricks are likely to change. All right. So now we can talk about how to prompt, but is there anyone in the class today that is brand new to Midjourney prompting? Yeah, damage case for sure. Unicorn, brand new, absolutely brand new. What about Chris and Donna and most of you guys? Klein, Medea. Nye. Most of you guys are not brand new to Midjourney prompting, just new to V8 prompting. No one's going to kill you, Collect. You're okay. I think Damage Case went AFK anyway after his question. I think we're okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, well, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this then because we're all veterans here. But I will go ahead and throw these basics up here just to remind us, because these things continue to be true in V8, kind of in a weird more so way. Like I'm having a hard time staying alert to my own power over the image, and remembering that I with V8 the chances of being able to fix it with the prompt are way higher than ever before. You don't think Midjourney can do that, or you think that Midjourney won't because of the IP problem reason? The bottle? I see. You're trying to isolate just use of the font without bringing in the other imagery. Mm-hmm. No, I'll die without it. I'm just gonna demonstrate. Let's see, a billboard, with Reason Cola written on a red background in a white font. I'm just leaving the word. I'm not going to put Coca-Cola. I'm just going to say cola. Raw. SV6. So much to type. Oh, it's suggesting it. What do you think? It totally worked. It worked, Reason. Not as good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, some of them are better than others. For sure. I wonder, yeah, it's a huge difference. Oh, nice. That did it. That's using the editor. And that's on the text slide too, is basically Chase the editor is only going to get more powerful. No spoilers. And so you might want to pick up the habit early of chasing what you need using the editor, so that some of our difficulties will be really easily resolvable. We won't have to do direct prompting only. We'll be able to get what we want with a workflow. And that's a really promising future. I don't know. I don't remember. 2 weeks? I don't remember. Right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Right, I'm not gonna tell you how diffusion works. You all knew that. Prompting, troubleshooting, archetypes. Oh yeah, archetypes in V8 are fun. The describing is takes more. And at least in SV, excuse me, in the default, in the alpha default style, archetypes look funky or ugly to some people's eyes. But yeah, support V8 alpha with your mood boards and srefs and profiles and stuff, and you'll be okay for the next little while. But here's a woman sitting in a cafe on a rainy day, and then a woman sitting with her chin in her hand in a wooden chair at a small empty wood table, looking out of a big single pane glass window, looking out on the city sidewalk on a rainy day, right? I mean, it's not a great grammatical sentence, but it is able to recreate this look quite closely. And this is with a profile to stabilize that look. All right, punctuation and spelling can matter. These are fun. These are fun to look at. Okay, hold on. Let me get this back up. Okay, so let's try let's eat grandma. I love this one. I'll use P and SV6. And then let's eat grandma. P raw SV6. So let's eat grandma is nice. Let's Eat Grandma must be a band name or something, because I get dozens of pictures of this girl. It's a band. So we got the lead singer of this girl. So it really matters. It really matters. Now, it doesn't matter for the reasons we think. It matters about how things are. Oh, thank you, Hebo. It matters how things are tokenized and so on. So if it knows eat with a comma or grandma without the preceding comma, that's what is changing this up. It's not because it's got an LLM that understands the grammar, but it still matters. Here's another one. PSV6 raw. Most of the time, travelers worry about nothing, versus most of the time travelers worry about nothing. Right, SV6 P Raw. So this is just the addition of a comma, right? Look at how different the images are. Most of the time travelers worry about nothing versus most of the time travelers worry about nothing. I'm adding SV because I've turned on the profile. It is affecting things even though it's, for some reason, they don't have it displayed. But what a difference a comma makes. So what do I suggest? I suggest that you pay attention to write a little bit like you learned in school. It actually does play more predictably if you do. You don't have to, though. This is diffusion. So if you fail to like write utmost correctly is proper written English, you'll be fine. But when troubleshooting, like if something's going wrong, check out that punctuation and grammar and spelling. Go ahead and check it as a troubleshooting step. It doesn't mean you have to obsess about creating prompts that are that correct to start with. No negation or absence, right? So there's this idea that you can say a room with no elephant in it and get a room with no elephant in it in V8. And how exciting is that? Oh, whoops! Except it's not true. Oops! Even when it's betraying an archetype, breaking an archetype? A birthday cake with no candles. I got one. A cowboy with no hat. A unicorn with no horn. Well, those two I am. I just wanted to test it. A piano without any black keys. Yeah, exactly. San, that's the way to go, because you can't break archetypes using no or dash no. It is more helpful to learn how to positive prompt. So whoops. Whoa. So a unicorn that doesn't have a horn, that's an archetype. Unicorns have horns. So you probably want to say a white horse. A woman in a cafe hasn't received her coffee yet. It's not going to understand that and make the table empty of coffee unless you say a woman sits in a cafe at an empty table. A cowboy hangs his hat on a fence post. Cowboys are identifiable because they have hats. So its chances are the cowboy might very well hang a hat on a fence post, but he'll also be wearing it. Depends on how strong the archetype is. That is fair. There's a pirate sitting on a bench. They have a cool jacket, but no eye patch. If you say but no eye patch, do you get the same? They don't exist, Teambo. Hate to break it to you. I'm just going to test this real quick. Pirate with no eye patch. A pirate doesn't have an eye patch, or a pirate with no eye patch. 3 of them have an eye patch. So I don't know, Allie. I wouldn't say that that's a reliable test. But you can always get a pirate with no eye patch if it's misbehaving, if it doesn't work out the way you want. You're always welcome to try positive prompting. Yeah, archetypes are strong. Oh, it's possible, Allie. Um, there you go. Well, I said Christmas Eve in order to contextualize it. But I didn't say Christmas lights, because the moment you say Christmas lights, it's like, I need to condition this picture to make sure that Christmas lights show up in it. And so you can't say it. You have to contrive some other way to say it that describes it. Rather, otherwise you keep invoking Christmas lights. There's a dog lying in the grass in the yard. The dog has blue fur. If I just don't mention the bone, he won't have one. Fair. I see what you're saying. Look, my blue dog is not blue. There we go. A dog with entirely blue fur. A cowboy sitting on his horse wearing a pirate hat gets pulled toward British soldiers from the 1800s. Yeah, I mean, the power of the archetype is what diffusion, that's the magic of diffusion. It's playing, it's blending those archetypes together. That's what it does for a living. That's what we pay the bucks for. So as soon as you can switch your thinking to that, the easier it becomes to manipulate. Damn it. I got the coffee. I really was expecting not to. A woman in a what's another word for cafe? Cafeteria with no coffee. I know it's a different scene, but can I have no coffee? No. No coffee is too strong. Haha, this is very strong coffee. Woman in a bistro with no coffee. Oh, wait. No coffee at the table. A woman at a bistro. No coffee. One of them. No, she's holding the cup. I didn't see her holding it. It's like, it's all on the table. Great. Nope. Couldn't exercise Mario until I removed overalls from the prompt. Yeah. Okay, let me try that. A dog with entirely blue fur chewing. A dog with entirely blue fur chewing, but not on a bone. Oh, well, he's already not chewing on a bone. Oh, chewing but not, like that? Okay. I see. He's chewing on something. Yeah. Definitely doing something. We'll have to think about that. With my school marm punctuation, it worked fine. I'm gonna say gave him a squeaky toy instead. That worked. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in 7 to show that. He's got a bone here and a bone here and a squeaky toy here and a piece of moldy bread here. Or a cookie or something. That absolutely would work, Tifane. That is exactly what we recommend. You have to do positive prompting. You can't prompts describing what isn't happening or isn't present typically will not work. It helps if you are fighting a very weak archetype. If you're fighting a very strong archetype, like a unicorn and its horn, you're going to struggle. If you're fighting a weaker archetype, like there's plenty of pictures of dogs without bones. So if they've got something hard coded in there that's doing a silent -- no dog with bone sort of thing, it might be conceivable that you can get your dog without a bone, but not a unicorn without a horn. Yeah, it definitely feels better. Whoops, wrong emoji, interpreter. It's a great example, Allie. Conversational mode. We talked a little bit about conversational mode. It's improved. Camera metadata. So there was a trend for a while because somebody's masterclass talked about using camera metadata like ISO 100 f 1/2.8, 1/125, 16K, da 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 da. Just like in 7, this is not a very powerful way of adding to your photography. I mean, I don't see it, at least in a short prompt like this, doing any like damage, but I don't see it doing anything, that I'm like, woo, I'm going to start prompting that way. Other people might look at this exact same example and say, huh, I kind of like it. We just in this class alone, we saw that in this alpha, just slightly longer prompts will seem prettier somehow to some of us. So that's interesting, subjective experiment. I mean, I just made a prompt longer by smashing my keyboard and it still looked nicer. Bye, Collect. Thanks for your help. To my eye, But in version 8 alpha, we are still seeing that iconic photographic styles have a beautiful effect. So this is Polaroid photography. Here's Ansel Adams, you naming artists. A lot of people have ethical questions about naming artists. Is it using their IP? What is it doing? As long as you're not intentionally trying to create a painting by Ansel Adams, like his painting, I think it's considered fair use to invoke the name of the artist. Be careful when the output is trademarked material. If you say in the style of Disney and you get something that looks just like Disney's Cinderella, you're in trouble. So work hard to be inspired by these names. Don't create don't duplicate IP. Not with this tool. Media sources inspired by, and you can do all kinds of things like directed by Peter Jackson or whatever. All these names and media references and video game references and so on can add style influence, and those are much more effective ways of changing the look of your work than is our technical jargon. I feel like if there says Derpadar, I feel like if there isn't enough tokens, it doesn't have enough things to put in the pixels, like an almost empty spray can. If I remix from 7, super short prompts work great. Remix from 7 to 8, I don't even think I've played with that. What a cool idea. Dense visual language. Write prompts using dense visual language so that every word is taking advantage of the limited processing power devoted to that job. Literary writing wastes tokens. Remove inefficient tokens to give more processing power to the effective tokens. That said, V8 is so efficient that I'm almost not even worried about it. I don't even know if I need to talk about this anymore. In terms of literary writing, meaning if you say, behold, she approaches, with a gruesome trepidation as she pushes, discreetly upon the glass panel of the door, this is wordy purple extra words. Because V8 is so efficient, I'm not sure that that's hurting us as much as it was. But nevertheless, this is diffusion. So descriptive, iconic, and visually evocative language is still your primary means of affecting that canvas. Same as usual. This is just this is Gemini's version of that slide. It stuck pictures next to everything. Time period, style genres, artist names, art movements, textures, colors, shapes, the usual. Ask yourself, what does it look like? If the answer is, I don't know, if you say the first mushroom, the second mushroom, what does second look like? If you can't, if you're not entirely sure, then Midjourney might not be either, because it can't have a correlation to some visual pattern if there isn't one. So that means stuff like a word like entirely is quite effective but a word like therefore is not. Oh, thanks, Derpader. That's nice. Let's try it. Let me get to the end of this. Vocabulary auditing. This is from Westendorf about scrubbing prompts for anachronisms. In other words, look for when you're troubleshooting, look for words that might pull in the wrong direction. This is from, I think it's from Rhapsody, who said adding years is weirdly helpful. Gumpasta pointed out that a lot of people are complaining about texture in V8, like it looks painted, or it looks like a picture, like someone snapped a photograph of a painting or something like that. It's got extraneous texture that is not desirable. That is often solved with prompting, using phrases like smooth digital art helps resolve those problems. Whereas if you say artwork or paint or something like that, illustration, you might get those textures. Software is anchors. Phrases like done in Clip Studio or Photoshop can sometimes also get rid of the that oil texture look. I think that's from Gumpasta also. Okay, from Rhapsody about consistency of characters. She suggests if you're unable to use if you're trying to get a consistent character, you don't have OREF anymore. You try to describe the character and then you give it an old picture of the character as an SREF, but Midjourney, either SV6 or SV7, isn't picking up the style correctly. What she tried to do is get a describe from her favorite LLM, which might have been Gemini or something, and got style phrases from that analysis, and then brought those style phrases back into V8 to go with the style reference. And between the two of them, she got good results, and so she recommended that. She also said, look, if you're going to be creating new characters in V8, start with a profile or a mood board or something that will stabilize the look, so that when you're in all other instances of recreating that character, you have the anchor. So that means when you're designing characters, it helps to be premeditated about it. Be premeditative and think, well, I'm going to be using this character quite a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and set up a mood board or a profile or something for it. A collection of SREFs, whatever pick your poison. And then you want to pair that with, a phrasing, a prompt, a style phrase, or a character evocation unlock phrase in the prompt. And then when you use those two things together, it very reliably unlocks the consistency. Any questions about that? If you have no questions, type NQ or no questions. Okay, that's so helpful, you guys. Thank you. All right. Thanks, Kirtan. Okay, we made it. Same 3 points. If you've been to this class before, you're familiar with the points I always drive home. Control it, and be aware of archetypes and the chaos they introduce, and lean into that dense visual language. And all of those things have a plus 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 in front of them in V8, because V8 is, because the prompt is the powerhouse of the cell. right? It's doing a lot more for us. It means that unless they make changes in 8.1, at least in this alpha, most of our frustrations can be resolved through prompting. So definitely join Learning Pro, join PromptCraft, bother me in DMs, come to my events, go to prompt battles, all the things. Share your discoveries. Would love to see you here, Jerry. So you can get can create better beasts, better dragons for the auto battler. Woohoo! Most of you know this already. You have live prompting support in the PromptCraft channel here in Discord. Also, if you are watching this as a recording or you're on Twitch or YouTube or Facebook, basically doing an @ of me, notifying me, or posting as a comment, either live or during a recording, I will swing by and help you out. We have the FAQs and tutorials, and we have a Midjourney-trained GPT, all of which will help you. Oops. All of which can help you out. I really do suggest the GPT. See if I can get the URL for you, because every time I learn anything about V8, I train the GPT, and so the GPT starts to accumulate V8 tips and tricks, and it could get pretty clever about it. So excellent, Bert. That's what it was designed to do. Look, collect. I have to collect. It'll drive crazy to see that. So of course we have to make sure he sees it. Okay. I'm so mean. All right. So the mindset and workflow, tool paradigm shifts, try systematic testing, have an exploratory mindset, hang on for the ride. This is really fun to have all of this. And I have some slides for folks who are new. Free basic image editors, free upscalers, since we don't have it. If you guys are interested in those, got a list of those for you there. If you want to play with free basic image editors, I'll put those in there so you can copy and paste this if you're into it. What else we got? Right. Free. And free scaffolding tools. Okay. I'll see if I can remember to add Affinity to the list. That's not a bad idea. Scaffolding is great. Generate a blueprint image and add it to the text prompt. Now, this is something that only works in V7. The scaffolding, it did briefly work in V8 before when I wrote the slide. So I'll have to take the slide down. Scaffolding. Wah wah. Okay. To get a copy of the slides, it would be so helpful if you filled out this event feedback form. Midjourney is very interested to know if the Quick Start is of use to the community. So even if you've left feedback before, this is the first instance of the V8 Quick Start. So think about the content and that you received here. Think about whether it really added much value. If the answer is not so much, that's okay. I'm totally fine with that. You guys can still put that in the feedback. And usually what I do is I grab the accounts that fill out the tally form and send you guys the copy of the slides. I'm going to try to get the slides up on the Notion site regardless, but I sure would appreciate it if you filled out that form. So I'm going to close the event now as far as the official. Twitch and YouTube and Facebook folks, come on into Discord if you want to keep talking, or use your comments to talk to me. I'll swing by in a minute and help you out. Thanks.